r/AskScienceFiction. Lost Specialist 1505 says, General sci-fi, are there any settings where humanity is truly alone in the universe? Are there any settings where humanity has colonized the galaxy or beyond and discovered that they are indeed alone in the universe? That there is no life out there? E13 says, Star Sector, Dead Space. Paint Flakes says, I think Ad Astra with Brad Pitt counts. He's in search of his father at a far-off space station. Suspicious Level 8818 says, I think there aren't sentient aliens in Firefly. Galaxy Ranger Bob says, Flash forward, the novel not the series, has no other sapient creatures in the universe for the duration of human existence. Iago Cassius says, Battletech. Matt J. McCormack says, Red Dwarf. Any non-humans encountered are human-made creations, organic or non-organic. Jan Baller says, the new Battlestar Galactica. In all the traveling they did not a single alien species. Al Clarkey says, seems Firefly is just one such setting. Kane Zeuxis says, depending on if you count necromorphs as being life in the Dead Space series, the title partly refers to the implication that humanity is alone in the galaxy due to the necromorph epidemic wiping out all other life forms in the galaxy, leaving nothing but dead space. No Gooded Names says, there was a very fun book called Implied Spaces, where humanity has progressed to the point where they are functionally immortal, can alter themselves to the cellular level, and can create pocket universes that they can tweak the laws of physics in. No aliens are ever mentioned. One of the biggest themes of the book is now what? When you can do so much, what is worth doing? Deacon Chiz 300 says, I just finished Red Rising, and humanity is a solar system spanning empire with no aliens in sight. Some characters talk about searching beyond and believing that there's other life out, but it's all completely minor compared to the overall plot, which is great. Gamma 0111 says, heavy gear. It's the 61st century and still no aliens. Battlestar Galactica reboot. Dune. Madame Finreborn says, Ike, there weren't any sapient aliens in Heinlein's book Tunnel in the Sky. Cheo's Music says, the unincorporated Man book series. By the first book, man has colonized the solar system, and by the last one has started expanding to other systems in the galaxy, and no aliens of any kind. There is sentient AI, but they developed on Earth. Apasaloth8 says, crest/banner of the Stars franchise. Just humans and augmented humans. Formal Drop 526 says, Interstellar Dune Red Dwarf Foundation TV show Battlestar Galactica. r/AskScienceFiction. Macheo 195 says, Warhammer 40k, even if the Emperor saved all Angron's gladiators and earned his gratitude, in the end, would Angron still fall to chaos because of the butcher's nails? Madame Finreborn says, there's a theory that the Emperor had prescience that some of his sons would later betray him, he just didn't know exactly which ones, so he threw some of them under the bus like Angron and Conrad Kurz, who he knew were damaged goods anyway. So I see the Emperor treating Angron like shit as part of a cruel long-term strategy to better his odds against chaos. Besides this, before he was corrupted by chaos, Angron was actually one of the most soft-hearted and empathetic primarchs, and he would probably never fully support his father's crusade, knowing how much death and suffering it would cause. No Reward 3486 says, yes. Without the nails, there's always a chance he could become like Corvus Corax, a primarch who was a slave extremely uncomfortable that the Imperium runs on slaves, but believing that it's necessary for the Emperor to do whatever he convinced Corax about. But the males changed Angron so much they are spiritually a part of him. Even in demonhood, he can't escape their grasp. 101 Tart says, if Biggie was a good father he would save his gladiator family and undo the butcher's nails. Mountain Research 205 says, he would despise Emperor no matter what. Angron is first and foremost the freedom fighter, and, by his own words, he always will against Emperor no matter what. r/AskScienceFiction. Reddit Emmy says, Punisher is guilty by association enough for Frank to kill? Would Frank kill the wife of a criminal because she knew he was a criminal, but she herself was completely clean and innocent otherwise? Would he kill all the employees of a scamming company, even if the employees themselves had no idea who they were really working for? Ketchawarayatskmkson says, it depends on the crime and how much he can prove they knew. In your example, if the wife knew he was a criminal, but didn't know he was raping kids, then she'll probably be fine. If the wife knew he was selling drugs to teenagers, then he'd offer some mercy and a quick death. If she was talking to women in clubs and directing them to a modeling agency that was just an empty warehouse where they get shoved in a van and trafficked, then she's going to suffer, even though she didn't directly do anything to those girls. Human DivWiz says, if she was talking to women in clubs and directing them to a modeling agency that was just an empty warehouse where they get shoved in a van and trafficked, then she's going to suffer, even though she didn't directly do anything to those girls. Just to be clear there, she's trafficking them. That's not didn't do anything directly, she's part of a kidnapping and human trafficking ring. Directly. 21 Fudgerica says, not really. Unless they are committing or a party to the crime in some way. Context is important. Also, it's helpful to remember that Frank is mentally unwell. Logic doesn't really apply to what he's doing, even if he says it does. Bruss says, don't play with matches if you don't want to get burned, I think, summarizes his philosophy in the matter. FS Scott says, yes, his preferred methods are fully automatic weapons and claymore mines. Beautiful Quality 402 says, no. Unless you were explicitly involved or tried to attack him, he would leave you alone. MKW69 says, for wife, a group of them tried to kill him after they were forced to live without money from their husbands. For second, no, unless they would have no problem after learning from it. Frank once learned that company was gonna cause blackout in which people would die and was gonna take out the seer. He was hesitant since he was on a boat with other people, but after listening how much company men had no problem doing it and they were happy doing it, he blew them up. Ragnarok Wolves says, would he kill all the employees of a scamming company even if the employees themselves had no idea who they were really working for? What are the employees doing? Do they have no idea that the import company they work for is a front for the kingpin? He will not harm them, but he'll probably blow up their building and put them out of a job. Are the employees telephone scammers robbing little old ladies of their life savings? I could see him going either way on killing them or not, tbh. These scams can end lives, at the very least. He is breaking some faces in and also blowing up their operations. Would Frank kill the wife of a criminal because she knew he was a criminal, but she herself was completely clean and innocent otherwise? If she was fully aware that her husband was killing/hurting people, didn't turn him in, and she just continued to enjoy the $ fruits of his labor, that's pretty dark, and earning something from the Punisher, whether it be him seizing all her assets or killing her, based on how bad she covered things up. If the wife was trapped and feared retaliation from her husband, I still don't think he'd be super sweet to her, but he wouldn't be as cruel. r/AskScienceFiction. Platypodus says, Star Trek/TNG, vast distances are often described as travel time, for example as 2 years at maximum warp. Is the Enterprise able to travel at maximum warp continuously for that amount of time? Particle Wombat says, Typical starships in the Trek universe have a cruising speed that they can maintain indefinitely and a maximum warp that they can maintain for 12 hours. For example, the Enterprise D had a cruising speed of warp 6 that it could maintain until it ran out of fuel, approximate 3 years. It had a maximum warp of 9.6 that it could do for 12 hours. Now there's plenty of inconsistencies in Trek about how fast that is, but here's how far that'll get you using one of the more common models. The Enterprise traveling at warp 6 for 2 years would get you 432 light years. If you could maintain 9.6, that would get you 1768 light years away. Some more tidbits of questionable usefulness. There are approximate 50 million stars within 1768 Li. It would take approximately 60 years to cross the Milky Way at warp 9.6. Sourced from Memory Alpha and My General Nerdiness. Cheers edit. Fixed an autocorrect from Neediness Row Nerdiness lol. Cheo's Music says. No. Maximum warp caused a strain on ship systems and structural integrity, and also was a massive drain on energy, so could only be maintained for short periods of time, usually hours. It was mainly for emergencies only. Most ships had a cruising speed that they could operate pretty much continuously. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.